Hello, for Woodbridge Township Television and Access New Jersey, I'm Mike Forbes. In December of 1951, a sea captain from Woodbridge, New Jersey set sail on a cargo ship, the Flying Enterprise, on a routine run across the ocean. When a particularly bad storm descended upon the ship, the trip took a very different turn and became anything but routine. The ensuing drama captured the imagination of the world and catapulted Captain Kurt Carlsen to the status of international hero.
Milestones of the century.
Path News was shown in all the theaters throughout the country. It wasn't just here in Woodbridge. And you'd see events happening all over the world, things happening in Washington. And then when this came on, you'd say, wow, this is Woodbridge. We're on Path News, and this is going all over the country, and they're going to be looking at our little town of Woodbridge.
The most touching welcome of all, Woodbridge, New Jersey, his hometown, which gives a neighborly welcome to the Danish-born sea dog who says he'll go back to sea again. Captain Henry Carlsen, refusing all offers of personal gain, but making his honored mark on the milestones of the century.
He was soft-spoken, unassuming, unpretentious, very, very nice man.
The American freighter Flying Enterprise is hard hit and crippled by the gale. The cargo has shifted and forced the ship into a dangerous list. The Flying Enterprise carries 10 passengers, 41 crewmen, and $1 million worth of automobiles, mail, and other cargo. The master of the faltering vessel is 37-year-old Danish-American Henrik Kurt Carlsen.
He's adventurous, an adventurous type of guy. Just about do anything, you know.
This chapter, Man Against the Sea. The story of Kurt Carlsen, skipper of the Flying Enterprise. Picked up by radio antennas, the call for help was transmitted to vessels in the vicinity of the Flying Enterprise. Ship disabled. Proceed at once to assistance of passengers and crew. Rescue at sea. When the rescue ships arrived, Carlsen ordered his passengers and crew to leap into the ocean, where they were picked up by small boats. Carlsen could have gone with them to safety, but true to the traditions of his calling, he remained on the Flying Enterprise.
You become very proud that someone from your town took the stand that he did of wanting to remain with the ship. And there was, like I say, there was tremendous coverage. And each day we would be anxious to get the newspaper, to listen to the radio reports. And it gave us a sense of, you know, being very proud.
The radio officer on the Greeley asked me, when are you and the captain leaving? And I told him, I said, I am the captain, I am staying here. I did not want to leave her for somebody else to come and tow into port. I had brought her out, and it was my duty to bring her back.
He thought he did what he did because it was expected. It was his duty to stay with the ship.
Arrangements have been made by the ship's owners for a Dutch tug to tow the crippled Enterprise into port. The Flying Enterprise is now without heat, power, and light. The batteries in the 50-watt Morse transmitter are running low and must be conserved for emergencies. Carlsen's own personal amateur radio becomes his communications lifeline with the standby ships. He sets up a radio schedule transmitting every 2 hours from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
He knew a lot about radios and transmitters, and he could repair them and that sort of thing.
He knew there was human contact there. you're alone, but you're not alone. There is someone out there that is hearing you.
Destroyer Weeks prepares to shoot a line to the Flying Enterprise and pass warm food and supplies to Carlsen.
It was necessary to get some food regardless of the risk. When the American destroyers came alongside, they were very kind. They shot some food over by line.
The Flying Enterprise was listing perilously when the tug arrived. Still, Carlsen clung to his ship, explaining simply that it was his duty to the owners. He was joined by Kenneth Dancy, mate of the Turmoil, and the tug began the long haul to England. The world breathed a sigh of relief, expecting a happy ending to Carlsen's brave story.
And it was something that the town was able to rally around and follow day by day on the radio reports, on the newspapers, and I know as a senior in high school at that time, where we have history, this was a current event, and it was the topic of the day every day.
With the improved weather, newspapers, wire services, and newsreel companies hired tugs to cover the ordeal of the Enterprise in the Turmoil. The towing of the Enterprise appears to be more of a triumphal procession than a rescue. 57 miles from Falmouth, Carlsen's luck and the weather change abruptly as a new storm strikes. In the middle of the night comes an emergency signal from Turmoil. The tow line has snapped.
To Carlsen's home in New Jersey went the bad news. Mrs. Carlsen had been timidly optimistic when the towing began. In this latest misfortune, she showed courage almost equal to her husband's.
We're trying to be as brave as he is. This is very hard. We've been hoping and praying, and I know a lot of people with us. I'd like to thank them all.
The end came 2 weeks after Carlsen began his ordeal. Leaping into the ocean, he and Dancy were taken aboard the Turmoil. From the tug, Carlsen watched his stricken ship. Her last bitter hour had come. Flat on her side, she could no longer withstand the ocean. Water poured into the hold. The precious cargo that Carlsen had risked and suffered so much to save now drifted on the waves. Like a great beast that had received its death wound, the Flying Enterprise heaved over and began to sink. Farewell to a brave ship. She went down slowly, ending a great sea drama. He was a new kind of hero, refusing hundreds of thousands of dollars for the publication rights to his story. Carlsen said he'd done nothing to deserve it.
I don't think that he really wanted all this praise that he got. He certainly didn't look like a hero. He was just a plain ordinary guy, and if they wanted to bestow this on him, why, he went along with it.
He even insisted on paying his own hotel bill. After an enormous ticker tape parade in New York, a roaring reception in Carlsen's hometown.
When we got down there, and it looked like the whole town was down there. I mean, it just wasn't a few people. And then we started looking at the news coverage that all the stations and all the papers that were down there, and we said, wow, this is bigger than I think anyone ever anticipated.
On 29 December 51, it looked as if the skipper's ship was done. And so he ordered off his crew, declaring he would see it through to port of bottom home or kingdom come. All hail to the skipper with faith beyond the skies. All hail to the skipper of the Flying Enterprise.
I think it showed the determination of the individual and showed that there are those people in this country, then and now, who go above and beyond what is actually required of them. And I think those type of individuals need to be recognized, need to be rewarded. And I think the fact that when he received that key, as I recall, the look on his face and the pride of his family, and to this day, his family, those that are remaining, are still so proud of the achievements that he accomplished.
All hail to the skipper of the Flying Enterprise.
Captain Carlsen continued to refuse all offers of fame and wealth as a result of his days on the Flying Enterprise. A second ship was eventually rechristened the Flying Enterprise II, and Captain Carlsen returned to the sea, as captains often do. After retiring, the captain took a job as a launch driver at the Raritan Yacht Club in order to stay close to the sea, where passing yachtsmen would marvel at the sight of the famous captain and ask him about his days on the Flying Enterprise. Captain Carlsen lived out the remainder of his life with his family right here in Woodbridge Township. I'm Mike Forbes. Stay tuned for more Access New Jersey.